in rural America somewhere, when they watch television, what is their impression of an Italian American? What do they see? You know, what do they think about when they hear the word Italian American?
America uses the word is a loser. That word doesn't exist in Italian. Nobody's a loser. Because they are all winners in a way, as fathers or mothers or teachers. Even if they don't have a lot of money in the bank, they feel like winners.
Leaving a small village of Calabria and coming to New York and being greeted by all my uncles and aunts and cousins in those gigantic, to me they were gigantic cars. I still have that picture at the pier so vivid.
My name is Salvatore De Tomaso, and I was born in Italy, in Italia, e il paese, un paese bello, Casa Calenda. I was born in 1899 in a little town, and I learned my trade to be a tailor. My life was very simple. I went to school, I learned the best I could, and then Italy called me when I was 18. After 4 years, I was in the army. I was in artillery. I used to shoot a cannon. I used to point. You figure out that you're going to die, that's all. And then, luckily, you're safe. And then I put everything on the side. I figured out to go to America. And I came to America at the end. My father no wanted me to come to, don't go to America, stay in Italy. I say, mi dispiace, I'm going to America. Soon as I arrive in America, in New York, I make money. Right away, the first week. And all my life I done a police uniform, fireman uniform, subway uniform. But when they see the uniform, and then the people stop, like, hey, look at that, look at that. I raised up my family in America. 1 girl, 3 boys. Just right. And I'm happy in a sense that they work, they don't fool around. They have a house, they have a family, thank God for that. That's what I want when I was young. I want to raise up with the family and be just nice. And they're happy. Today, thank God, my son over here is vice president of the bank. What do you want? Better than that? After all, I'm only Taylor.
I was born in Mola di Bari in 1949, which is ages ago. And we came to the United States in 1956. So I was 6.5 years old when we came to the United States. I have very, very fond memories of those first few years. In fact, my grandparents being there. In fact, my grandmother is still there now, and she's 96 years old. And when I think of my experience there in that short time, I think of her. I think of where we used to live. We had a house right near the water, so that all I had to do was look out, and here was the Adriatic Sea. My grandfather died when my father was 7. So my father, already from 9 years old, was already working full-time on a ship, going out and trying to help, make ends meet for his mother and his other brothers. So he had had so much experience in the States that when he came back from being a prisoner of war, he was again a fisherman. But he was tired of always being away from home for a year at a time, and he wanted to be together with the family. And my mother too wanted I have a brother. She wanted the family unit to be together. And that was their main reason for coming here.
But I was over on the other end here, primarily on the farming side. My father didn't want to see my brother and I being farmers, as he was here, working 12 and 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, with limited opportunities. And an exit to the United States, a visa to the United States, was worth $1 million here for any family here that could get it. I don't think here that we saw the transition here from a small rural town to a big city. Our problems, they were bigger than that. Our problems were language. Our problems were for our parents a job. And the jobs that were available here to a 45, 50-year-old man with no technical experience was his muscle, his back.
That's where most of the people from Mauladi Bari went. Most of them became longshoremen. And my father was a longshoreman too. And that's basically where they went. And you needed a job, so your friend was doing that, and you went, you know, with them. I'd say the majority of Malaysia.
If we had been more adventurous, we would have taken the suggestion made here by a number of people and gone to California. And my father could have been not only a farmer, but a specialized grape grower, tomato grower, and artichokes. But then who was the helping hand once we got to California to put us on the road of housing here and guidance?
I've been able to assimilate in this country, which has been marvelous to me, and I will talk about very well, but I've retained completely my Italian identity. I go to Rome, and an hour, 2 hours later, I speak with no trace of any foreign, not only accent, which I don't have a foreign accent, but hesitation in choosing words, which I'm very proud of since I've been in this country almost 31 to 32 years. My grandmother, who was an incredible person, I call my grandmother the Tigress, she made sure that there was food. She will go and risk her own life, go to towns surrounding Rome, and she will go there and fetch the flour and the prosciutto. You can always do something with the prosciutto. You can cook, you can eat it, you can use the bones for minestrone. I mean, it was incredible. And she kept us well fed. Men would ask her, would ask to join her to go and fetch food for the families because her profound, transcendental beliefs were so enormous that, I mean, once they were in a train coming back to Rome with the provision, the sirens went on in the middle of the field, and they realized they were bombing airplanes above the train. And of course, the Allies were bombing anything they moved, and they were right. There could have been Germans there. In fact, they were. She refused. Can you imagine? She refused. She sat on top of the provision of the flag, and she said, if I lose this, I just as well die. And if I leave and somebody steals it, what am I going to bring back to my children? Incredible. Incredible. When I go through persecution here, because I do alternative medicine, it makes me laugh as compared to what these people went through. It gives me strength. But when I became a declared alternative physician, approximately, let's say, in the early 70s, it's almost 20 years, I became the enemy of the medical institution. And for a little immigrant, 5'1", a woman, to take on them, I mean, it took courage, but the courage came from the example of my grandparents, no doubt.
When it dawned on me what my father had done at the age of 60 to leave a comfortable lifestyle in Italy, we always felt that we would have a comfortable lifestyle as well. I mean, we would have inherited lands and fishing vessels, and with my father's contacts, we would do okay. My father's nerve and courage to leave all that lifestyle and bring the whole family to a country that is totally strange to us and start working as a ship cleaner. The very next day that he arrived, he went to work. And we all waited up for him, and he worked late that night, overtime. And when he arrived, he was pitch black from head to toe. He started working on the hulls of ships. When I saw him, I was shocked. It was a sight I will never forget, because I was always accustomed to seeing my father, even returning from work in Italy, to be relatively clean. He was the boss, after all. Can you imagine today someone at 59 leaving a comfortable lifestyle and to come to America and work as a longshoreman? I mean, it's unheard of. And it's a big sacrifice that he made, and he worked for 6 years as a longshoreman before he finally had to retire, because otherwise he would kill himself on the docks. But he lived to be 97, so I guess he had it in him. And there was always a driving factor in my father was to be of use. He always said, to be useful, di far bene. His expression was, devi far bene, you must do good. Not to yourself, but to others. And that's what led me into politics. That's what led me into community affairs and activities. And I still do it. I still go to places and people will approach me and ask me about a question and ask me about a problem that they're having. And I enjoy being helpful to them. I enjoy trying to give them advice or to assure them about things. It's the kind of thing that my father used to do, to be of use, to be of good, fare bene.
As you know, I am a college professor. And I think I'm very useful in giving Italian values, European values, to our students. In my play, one is called The Cage, there are people trapped in a situation, but they struggle, they don't give up, and at the end there's always a spark of hope. That's one of the characteristics of my plays. At the end, a spark of hope, which is characteristic of the Italian approach. I know 2 American playwrights who committed suicide when their play failed. I mean, if any of my plays would ever fail, and it may happen any moment, I would just keep writing. I go home and I write another one. So that's the European approach. You don't expect from one play, you know, the great success. No. In America, they use the expression overnight success. I had the big success on Broadway, you know, with the musical 9. And many writers, oh, Mario Fratti is an overnight success. Are you kidding? I've been working 25 years before I got 9. So this expression overnight success doesn't exist. The real secret is persistence, persistence. I tell my students, you must have a tunnel vision. You want something, work at it, constantly, with persistence, and someday you'll make it. I heard once, you know, a proverb someone mentioned, in America there are thousands of geniuses on the verge of starvations. The ones who make it are the ones who persist. And that's what I tell my students, I tell my friends, persist. You will be rejected many, many times. Doesn't matter. Don't keep your poems in a drawer. Mail them. 49 magazines out of 50 will reject it, but 1 magazine will accept it.
What do they see, you know, what do they think about when they hear the word Italian-American? And they so much, you know, the constant buffoon, the stereotype, the mafia, etc. That's what I think comes to their mind. And if we could, I mean, ideally try to project all that positive, because there is so much positive and so much beauty and culture in Italy, or with Italian Americans also. But it is the negative that seems to overshadow us all the time, and that's what I'm troubled with a great deal.
Negli occhi tuoi c'è il sole, c'è il colore delle viole, delle valli tutti in fior. Se canta la tua voce è un'armonia di pace che si diffonde e dice se vuoi vivere felice devi vivere qua giù. La 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 la.